Okay, taking a look at my Ruger Charger build, and in this video I'm going to very quickly go over the parts that I used to assemble this build and then give you a look at how it performed today out on the range. So I started with a Ruger Charger receiver, and then I put a Kid scalloped black bolt into the receiver. I've got a Kid charging handle, and this has the 762 engraving on the side of the charging handle. I have a Kid single stage trigger and a custom machined Kid charger barrel. This was a 10-inch barrel. I had it machined down to 4.5 inches. I had it threaded 1/2 by 28 with a little bit left over to interface with my Silencer Co. Sparrow O-ring. I have an Old Fort Arms Arrowhead chassis, a Yankee Hill Machine quad rail handguard. I have a Spikes Tactical pistol buffer tube and an SB Tactical, this is the SBV pistol brace. I have an Arsenal AK-47 pistol grip and a BX-25 round magazine. Internally I have a Hightower Armory buffer tube, and then for my sights I'm running Hightower Armory Glock Sight bases with a set of standard factory Glock Sights. So let me show you how it performed today out on the range. Okay, out at the range here, gonna test fire the Charger build. Gonna verify that the thing will cycle with this new barrel and the thread job, make sure I don't get any baffle strikes on my suppressor. And then I'm going to be kind of testing the water of how accurate this thing can be with these Glock Sights on the Glock Sight bases. I don't really have much adjustment. I can do a little bit of windage, but as far as like elevation, there's not much adjustment that can be made. You can see that I'm not terribly much higher than the barrel, so it's comparable to what like a Ruger 1022 factory iron sight would be as far as how close to the barrel it is, and see if I can connect with anything. I don't know if I can or not, so this will be the first time I've tried it on this. I think maybe typically you'd want to have your sights on your receiver opposed to on your handguard. We'll see how this works. So, all right. Well, I'm going to go ahead and put a 15 round magazine in here and charge it. For some reason didn't want to charge all the way. Hopefully that was the only hiccup I'm gonna have all day. Probably not. But at any rate, I'm gonna be running all CCI mini mags. So let's see if 15 rounds of CCI mini mags cycles. This is just checking to see if it cycles, just a test fire. So well, that's not good. Yeah, a light primer strike on a CCI mini mag. So much for that being the only hiccup. Alright, so rimfire, you gotta expect something. So that was just testing out the sound. It's quiet, it's real quiet. So let me set up some reactive targets and see if I can connect with anything. Alright, so set up a couple of pop cans down the range, about 30 feet. It's not a terribly impressive distance to brag about, but I just want to start with something and see if I can connect with it. So my hope is that the first 2 trigger pulls will have 2 pop cans go down. I don't know what the first one was about. I kind of want to try that again. Might have shot a little low on the first one. At the 2 and 3 shot, connected. All right. Okay, so I was able to hit 2 pop cans at 30 feet. Let's increase the distance and see if I can hit something further with these sights. Alright. Okay, so here's 50 feet. Let's see if I can hit these 2 at 50 feet. Missing that first one. Let's try another 15 feet. Let's go for 65. Alright, so this is 65 feet, and again, I don't know if it's necessarily anything I would brag about and write home about, but it is further distance than what we've been shooting at. I'm zooming in a little bit so that you can see the pop cans easier. It might mess with how far your judgment of distance is on the video, but it's 65 feet now, so let's see if I can hit these in the first 3 tries or so. Hi. Oh. I hit the first one and knocked the other one over. I guess at this point you just gotta charge. Apparently, it falling over shut the can well enough to cover me and pop a little bit. Alright, let's set up another one. Alright, so still at 65 feet. Obviously I was able to hit the can, but I wouldn't say it was with any precision where I could knock it off the first trigger pull. So, let's see if I can maybe dial it in a little bit. At this point, at 65 feet, with this big white dot, you know, I'm basically covering the entire pop can. There's really no precision. It's just like putting a big dot over a small target. So I don't know if I could do very well with shooting at a bullseye with these sights. And that's typically what we do when we get together and do a run and gun. Alright, let's see if I can get this guy on the first trigger pull. Oh yeah. Oh. Alright, so I'm gonna take us out another 10 feet, make it 75. Okay, so we're zoomed in pretty good so you can even see the pop can at this point. Let's see if I can connect with it at 75 feet. Hot diggity dog. Okay, so that's 75 feet. Probably more luck than anything, honestly. I mean, let's set you back to 100 feet. Let's see if I can connect with anything. All right, well, let's see if I can hit this thing. the dot is like 4 times bigger than the can, so I'm not even sure where to put my sights at this point to even line it up with the can. No dice there. Well, let me put another magazine in and see if I can connect with it. But like when the dot is this big and the can is like this big, it's just not a practical sight picture for what I'm trying to shoot at. All right, well, 25 fresh rounds. Let's see if I can take care of this can from 100 feet. Oh yeah. Well, listen to this thing, what it sounds like, kind of rapid fire from 100 feet away. I'm gonna leave the tripod set where it's at. I'm gonna run down range 100 feet away, suppressed with standard velocity ammunition. Let's see how it sounds from 100 feet away. All right, well, that was my day out at the range. I think that in conclusion, I think that these are very adequate for close quarters, but at 100 feet, the pop can was smaller than the white dot on the front sight. But all in all, the 4.5-inch barrel performed well with the Silencer Co. Sparrow. Stay tuned for more videos on this build. It's a big world out there, and we're bound to run into a shady situation. Until then, keep your gear on you.